before he was selected Pope, Pope Francis gave an interview ostensibly to Chris Matthews, and he made this point. I say, teach the people to save their souls and also teach them how not to become poor and how not to allow the government to trick them into poverty.
And how is it that we've never seen this interview?
Well, apparently it's been censored because it was an embarrassment to Chris Matthews and to MSNBC.
Oh, so this is our friend Tingley Chris Matthews who interviewed the Pope, but it was embarrassing, so they decided not to air it. And what else did the good cardinal at the time, what did he have to say?
Well, there was one point where Mr. Matthews asked him if he was going to destroy all the progress that had been made up to this point in Latin America. And the cardinal looked at him and said, "You say progress, I say poverty."
Mm-hmm.
So he was telling him that socialism, in fact, in his interview here, he did equate socialism with sin because it creates poverty.
Yes, it does. And so this interview would have been too embarrassing because it appears that the good cardinal had the upper hand in this.
I think the good cardinal owned the conversation, and it was an uncomfortable conversation for Chris Matthews, who is another public figure who claims to be Catholic and yet is desirous of a hedonist pope that will give us gay marriage and abortion on demand and all of these things that are in the liberal list of demands.
Of course, anything truly American and truly conservative would be impugned then and would be the reason for all the problems that we have. It's that we're not following along the Obama track, if you will, and not causing his tingling to continue.
Yeah, he has a tingle deficit.
And what else? What else did the cardinal sounds to me like he's an arch conservative?
Well, he does consider himself. He actually shows that capitalism, and he doesn't blame corporations for the ills of the world because he believes that freely making choices to buy or to sell are not detrimental to people. It's when poverty is created by governments, by creating dependency and replacing the worship of God with the worship of government or a certain government leader. That's what causes
I believe
ills.
he refers to the term involuntary poverty.
That's true.
The involuntary poverty being the poverty caused by government action and government greed, if you will, and government over control.
That's true. Chris Matthews asks him if he blames government for creating poverty, and he said, "No, I blame the self-serving politicians." So he said, and then he looked at Chris Matthews and said, "Friend, you are a socialist, and your friends are socialists, and you are the reason for 70 years of misery in Russia, and Europe is now seizing in pain from your policies. You believe in the redistribution of wealth, and it makes entire populations poor." And I think we've seen that time and again in the history of the modern world. So I'm very surprised that this interview even got leaked.
And I'm sure it's embarrassing for someone who may or may not be still working for NBC if he is the cause of this coming out. This was on the internet as well, I believe, on a site called Charleston
Review, I believe.
We'll see if they're on the air much longer or on the internet much longer. Can we just say then maybe we should all become Catholics very soon?
Well, I remember when there was the outcry that we're all Catholics now, in that we're all united against the oppression of the Obamacare laws So,
All I
in a
can
sense.
say is amen to that.
Thank you.